What's up, guys? Dick Opinion here, and I just got back from a show, a music show, and it was at one of my local venues, and basically it was the last tour for a band that basically, I'm not going to say their name, but basically this band, they broke up, but the lead singer decided to go on tour one more time, so we got a couple other guys to kind of fill in, and it was kind of like a goodbye tour. And it was kind of like watching a ghost on stage kind of die, because like I went there and most of the stuff he played wasn't the old band that I knew and loved. It was mostly his like solo stuff for his, new side band that he's doing, which is now I guess his main band because of the fact that his old band is now dead. So I would kind of say it was a train wreck. I mean, it was okay, but it was not near as many people and not near as good as it was when I saw him at the same venue with better people a few years ago. And I talked to some of the bands they were touring with, and it kind of is really, I don't know really what to think about it, because if you guys know me, I play music myself. And I've been through tons of drummers, I've been through a couple of guitar players and bassists, and at this point I am solo. I will go as far as saying I have a best friend who claims he plays guitar with me, but he doesn't. Basically, he doesn't have time for it. He has a whole bunch of problems himself, and he doesn't have time to do anything with me. He rarely plays with me, so I really just say I'm solo. And, I mean, I'll play guitar and sing probably till the day I die, whether I make it or not. But I watched these bands that the guy was touring with, and I watched him himself, and I watched it after the show and then break down everything. And I talked to one of the guys that wasn't as famous, and he was saying that it's brutal, sleeping in a van with all the bandmates going to show after show. And I imagine, and I know for a fact actually, they don't make money. I know that. They probably just barely make enough to eat McDonald's once a day probably and get gas to go to the next venue. But they're living their dreams in a sense. That's probably as big as they'll ever be. And the venue wasn't packed. It wasn't packed at all. I've been to that venue a lot of times. I actually have opened up for bands at that venue that had triple as many people. And I'm not bragging. It was an amazing show that I opened up for, and this was kind of like the tail end of a band that basically is dead. But they had a few hardcore fans show up for that one last tour. And it's just opened my eyes a little bit. And my eyes have always been open. I know I'll never make it in music. I know I'll never go on a month tour. I'd be lucky to go on a tour for a week just in Florida where I live. And I think that'd be hard, sleeping in my car, paying for what I have. What I'd probably do is I'd probably save up a lot of money and maybe find some cheap hotels and do it like that. Maybe. I mean, it's so hard to justify getting a hotel, especially if you're playing a show. You'd probably stay in at the venue till 12 at night, and you won't get to the hotel till 1, and you only get a few hours at the hotel, then you gotta probably drive to the next place. I mean, it's so difficult to tour, and I'm sure a lot of people don't do it because of that. A lot of people make great music, but it's never heard and seen because of the fact that it's hard. Now, when I went to this show, I felt kind of like an outcast a little bit. I don't know. I always feel that way everywhere I go. I don't ever feel like I fit in anywhere. But I also feel that if I was playing that show, I could hold my own. Definitely. I feel I have what it takes to pick up a guitar and sing in front of an audience, whether listening or not. But I just feel when it comes to everything in life, there has to be a different route, a different path to take rather than the same old stuff. And I mentioned this a bit in my video for the 30,000, I keep saying 3,000, it's really hard to believe it's 30,000, but 30,000 thank you subs video, where I kind of talk about how I have to go a different direction on YouTube, and that's with everything. And I honestly don't think I have it in me to go on a big tour, especially like I said, I don't have band members, so I would have to drive the entire time. I'd have to be my own merch person. I'd have to be the setup guy, the everything guy. I'd have to be everything. And that's very, very, very difficult to do. Even if I had a couple people, I think it'd still be extremely difficult. I think one of the hardest things would be driving so much. And then what if the van breaks down? What if your car breaks down? You're stranded in a state that you don't know. You might not have the money to fix it, and you're just screwed. There went your tour. You'd be lucky enough to be able to get your car back to where you live. It's so risky. And I do believe that these people that are on tour of this guy, it's hard, but I do believe in, like, when the tour ends, when they get back to their house and they catch up on sleep, catch up on food, hang out with their friends, and they sit in their room and they think about what they just did for those few months, they'll look back at it as like some of the most craziest, best times they ever had, but also some of the most brutal stuff that they ever had to endure. Like, I couldn't imagine sleeping on a bus with like 3 or 4 other people, barely getting any sleep, and barely ever taking a shower, and being completely filthy, and just wearing the same clothes, like doing the same stuff. I like couldn't imagine it, but you're in like a different town every day. Like, I think the only time tour is fun is when you're a huge band like Blink-182 or Coldplay or someone huge, where you're on a bus and you're just sitting there where someone else drives you, and you get there and you have tons of money. You can go eat where you want to eat. You can call an Uber and go where you want to go in that city and go explore and go to museums, and you might be with your family because you're so rich you can take them on tour of you, and you just go have fun in every single city, and then you just show up, play an hour or two show, and go do all the publicity and play with thousands of people and get tons of money for it. Yeah, that'd be great, but 98% of the bands that go on tour, they don't do that. They're driving a shitty van with a U-Haul thing behind it with all their instruments, and they switch driving, they switch sleeping. They have no time for, I assure you, anything. Just puts a lot of things in perspective, that you have to go different routes in life that works for you. What works for me in the music is to put it here on YouTube. I can do it in the comfort of my own home, or I could go somewhere and play something and then share it here. And then fans can watch it. It'll get the views, but I'm not going to get paid venue money. But most people don't get paid venue money. They're lucky enough just to play the venue. I probably won't sell merch, but I don't have merch anyway. The time I did have merch, I did sell all the t-shirts. It took over a year to sell all the t-shirts, but I did sell them thanks to you guys. So, I don't know, man. I just think it's really difficult, and I think I'd have to be a lot bigger to ever do a huge tour. But I do want to do a mini tour next year, like a week tour just in Florida. Maybe hit up, my hometown, then Tampa, maybe Orlando, maybe Miami, and then maybe come back and hit up a couple shows, and then like finish off back in my home somewhere. I mean, I think that'd be like the coolest thing ever. I think it'd be rough as hell. But I don't know, it's really eye-opening to see that. That's one thing. It's one thing to kind of go to a show and just be there as a fan, but it's another thing to go there and to be an artist and to just watch and to understand what they're going through, and to be able to be there and be like, this band did good, this band did good, this band did all right. Like, to be honest, the band that played last, the main tour that they went on, the main guy, he was probably like the worst out of all the bands. And it was mainly because, he wasn't with his other partner that he became famous with. It was with some dude no one else knows. The guitar player was a wreck. Everything was kind of dubbed in the sound system, so the drummer was practically pointless, and you could really barely hear him, and it was all just like audio through the microphones and through the sound system. It really wasn't even really alive. It was, but it wasn't. It was rough, and it was more theatrical. What I mean by that, it was more like, look at me, I have like tons of makeup, look at me, I have these colors and lights, and I'm tossing blood on everybody, and it was just crazy. For me, it is directly about the music. It's not going out there like having my face painted and just looking crazy. To me, it is 100% about the lyrics and the music and the heart. And I think that'd be really hard to tour on. Really hard. But I don't know, I know I'm just ranting here, but I just got back from that show, and it really kind of just makes me think, man. That's my last show I've seen in 2016. I'm sure I'll go to a lot of them in 2017. It's just weird. I'm ending this year on such weird feelings and weird moments. Like, not even counting like music-wise, not even counting YouTube-wise, but just in my life. It's been the worst year of my life. At this point, my kid's 5 hours away from me. I got a week with her, and it was great. And they left today. I don't even know if they're okay. I don't know if they made it. I text her mom and she won't even text me back. It just scares me. I worry every day that she's not okay. It's just been a very weird year. And it makes me think a lot about what I want to accomplish and what I want to do in my life. And I think even more so that it's important to make the right decisions at my age. You know, when you're younger, you can just mess around and experiment. But what I do for the next 5 and 10 years, that's going to be it. I need to play this smart. So yeah, I don't know. This is kind of a rant video. I appreciate you guys to listen, and I appreciate anyone that supports my channel, my music, and everything. It does mean a lot to me, and I think this is where my stage is, and I want to keep it that way. Thanks for listening. Dusk and Fly. Like and subscribe. Peace.